All right, everyone, get in here, sit down, and shut up. We've got stuff to talk about today. We're going over the NFL Week 2 predictions, and you're going to find out who I think is going to win every game this weekend. So let's get right into it. First up, we have the Buffalo Bills visiting the Miami Dolphins. As a Miami Dolphin fan, I obviously have only one thing to say. I'm predicting Miami to win this game, mostly because I fully expect them to get our hopes up this season very quickly. With a big win against Buffalo early on, they'll instantly become Super Bowl favorites, and then they will fall apart and probably miss the playoffs altogether. Gotta trust me. I know these sort of things because I've been living with it for about 30 years almost. Next up, we have the Raiders visiting the Baltimore Ravens, and I believe the Baltimore Ravens are going to get their first win of this season pretty soundly. I don't expect this to be close. I would be surprised if the Raiders scored more than 10 points. I imagine it's probably going to be ugly. Next up, we've got the Los Angeles Chargers from the West Coast flying all the way to the Carolina Panthers on the East Coast. Normally, I would think that would matter, but the Panthers are so bad. This week, I don't think it matters at all. I think the Chargers will go to 2-0, and the Panthers will go to 0-2, especially because I believe their star defensive tackle now out for the season. So the Chargers, who like to run the ball, are probably going to do that pretty successfully. Next up, the Cowboys are favorites against the Saints in Dallas. Both these undefeated teams coming together. I kind of like Dallas early on, similar to the Dolphins. They love to be an early season team, long enough to get their fans' hopes up so they can crush them. So I do think Dallas will come away with this. I personally don't think the Saints are that good of a team, although I think they will be like around the 500 ball club. But Dallas will win this one pretty easily, I think. Another matchup of undefeated teams here, as Tampa Bay will go to Detroit to take on the Lions. This is a tough one. This is probably the toughest one of the bunch so far, in my personal opinion, as far as games to decide. I really do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think that offense is having fun, and you can't really put a price on a team that's having fun. But I think the Lions are just a really good, hard-nosed team, and I don't see them losing to the Buccaneers at home. So I think the Lions will win this. I think it'll be a fun game to watch, but in the end, I don't think the Buccaneer fans will have as much fun as the Lions fans. Colts traveling to Green Bay, two teams looking for their first win. I think I would probably have picked the Packers to win this game if Jordan Love had been healthy, with him hurt and out for at least probably a month or so. I do think the Colts will get this one. I think it's going to be a very close game. It'll come down to probably the last few plays, but overall, I think the Colts will go into Green Bay, and they will leave the win. This is the time of year to do it before it gets really cold there anyway. The Browns are heading down to Florida to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars here. Another close game, but I really think the distractions going on in Cleveland right now with Watson are going to lead to Jacksonville getting a win here. I don't think Jacksonville's that bad of a team. In fact, I tweeted, I think Jacksonville will be a playoff team. And I think that the Dolphins and Jacksonville are two teams that are better than they appeared, but they were just playing each other. And when two teams play each other that are good, usually the game's pretty close. So I do think the Jacksonville Jaguars will get their first win here against the Browns. Jacksonville definitely a much better team than I think the Cleveland Browns can stand. So we got the Jaguars getting their first win here. 49ers traveling to Minnesota. I think it's pretty simple. I think San Francisco wins this game. I don't think Minnesota's going to be in a tough place without a proper quarterback, and while Sam Darnold definitely is probably one of the top 32 quarterbacks in the world right now, that doesn't exactly mean much. San Francisco is just a really good team. They are well put together, one of the best teams in the NFC, and I think they will prove it and show. Minnesota, fortunately, is going to lose at home this week. Seahawks are favorites against the Patriots as they fly from the West Coast to the East Coast to take on the Patriots, and I think that matters. I think New England gets their second win of the season. I do not think New England will make the playoffs this year. I think they will stumble as the season goes on. But I do think they get the win here. I think Seattle going there, 1 o'clock game. I don't think Seattle's that good of a team either. So I think the Patriots will take advantage of that. And with this close, it'll be a close game probably. But I think in the end, New England will just outlast them. The West Coast team going to East Coast or vice versa. I can't help but lean towards the team that's not traveling that far. So Patriots over the Seattle Seahawks, in my opinion. The Tennessee Titans have invited the New York Jets down to town to have a little competition at 1 o'clock on a Sunday here. This is a harder game, in my opinion, to pick than it looks. I think most people probably are going to go for the Jets just because of the Aaron Rodgers factor. I don't know if the Jets are as good as they look. They did not look good against the 49ers, but it's hard to look good against the 49ers. Tennessee has a bit of a run game too, and as you saw against the 49ers, the Jets don't have much of a run defense. So unless they fix that this week, I do think the Tennessee Titans will beat the New York Jets, and they will start 0-2, and Aaron Rodgers will be questioning why he had 31 choices, 31 other choices, and he had to pick the Jets. He's a smart guy, but that's the dumbest thing he's ever done. NFC East game here, the New York Giants going to Washington to take on the Redskins. Close game here. I think and I feel Washington will get their first win here because the Giants just look a little off. I don't know how well Daniel Jones is actually ever going to play again, if he ever plays good again. I think Jaden Daniels, until he gets hurt sometime this season, which will eventually happen because it happens to all running quarterbacks, the Washington Redskins will ride that. They'll get to 1-1. New York Giants go 0-2. All right, into the 4 o'clock game, starting with the Rams visiting the Cardinals in Arizona. Both teams 0-1. I think both teams are better than what they looked. I mean, I really don't think the Rams looked that bad against the Lions. I think it was a pretty solid game. I just think the Lions are a really good team. For this, though, I think I'm going to have to go with the Rams. I think the Rams will pull this one out at home, or away from home, rather. Cardinals will go to 0-2, and, I just... When in doubt, pick the better quarterback. And between Matt Stafford and Kyler Murray, I feel like you got to put your money on Matt Stafford. So there you go. Steelers at Broncos. Bit of a trip for Pittsburgh to take, but I don't think it'll matter. I think they'll go to 2-0 here. I think Denver's in a bit of a rebuilding phase, obviously, with Bo Nix at quarterback. I think Pittsburgh will take advantage of that. I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. Would be funny, though, if they continue only to score field goals. I hope that happens. Cincinnati going down to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, and I think this is a pretty straightforward Chiefs win. I do not think the Cincinnati Bengals are that good of a team. In fact, I question how good of a quarterback Joe Burrow is ever going to be again. I know he's still having trouble with his throwing hand, the injury, and everything like that. I had a friend tell me that's the sort of injury that doesn't really ever heal. He's not a doctor, I'm not a doctor, and you're probably not a doctor either. Why would you be watching this if you're a doctor? You've got more important things to do. But the Bengals with Joe Burrow just seem kind of like a bit of a lost cause right now, and I think the momentum is going to go in the Chiefs' favor for this contest. Bears visiting the Texans here in the Sunday night game. I think it's a pretty straightforward Texans win. I don't even think it'll be close. I think Chicago's outmatched altogether here. I think Houston's offense is going to click big time, and I don't think Caleb Williams is going to do that well against the Texans. Away from home, maybe the defense helps them keep it close, but overall, I think C.J. Stroud is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams, and Caleb Williams is away from home, C.J. Stroud is at home. So all the advantages seem to be pointing towards the Texans, so I'm going with the Texans. Our Monday night contest has the Falcons going to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, and I think this will be a big blowout. I think the Eagles are going to absolutely dominate the Atlanta Falcons, mostly because they were robbed of a home opener. This is essentially the home opener, so those fans are going to be loud. I think it's going to be a crazy environment for them. Another primetime game, essentially, but this one at home, Monday night. Eagles fans show up. Atlanta is just... They look like they're headed in the right direction, but I think it looks very obvious that Kirk Cousins is still not all the way back. Another thing, same with Aaron Rodgers. I think they're both still kind of, I think they are both still worried about their ankles, and how can you not be? So I think this is a pretty straightforward Monday night game. It's going to be a big blowout. It's going to be a boring game unless you're an Eagles fan, pretty much. So those are the predictions for the week. We'll see how I do, and I'll see you back here next week with some more, as well as throughout the week with some more news. But thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you don't mind, hit the subscribe button, like the video, comment down below, tell me how many of these I got wrong before any of the games actually even happen. Take it easy.